This really shouldn't come as a surprise. Brandon Aiyu reportedly will hold out of 49ers training camp, just as CeeDee Lamb reportedly will hold out of Cowboys training camp because both all-pro wide receivers are looking for extremely lucrative extensions. And if CeeDee Lamb's going to hold out, then Aiyuk has to hold out too because his whole thing this offseason is that he wants to be seen as an elite wide receiver. So he has to move like elite wide receivers move, and that's what they're doing. So holdout seems likely for Brandon Aiyu. Remember, it's unclear what he's asking for. The Niners reportedly have offered $26 million a year. It seems like he's asking for 30, maybe 28 he would settle for. And that's a lot of money. Only 29 players in the NFL make $28 million a year or more. So this is heady stuff. This is a big deal. It's going to take a long time for this to get done. Last year, Nick Bosa wanted $34 million a year, and he got it, but he didn't get it until 4 days before the season started. He had to hold out. And when he held out, no one criticized him for it. No one moralized about it. No one said he needs to be there or he's a diva or yada, yada, yada. It's business. And so Aiyuk's making the same business move. It's hard to knock him when it worked for Bosa. It seems like if you're serious about getting $28+ million a year, you have to be willing to hold out if you don't get it right away. So the question, bringing it back to Bosa. Bosa held out. Bosa got what he wanted. Everything was hunky-dory, happily ever after, right? Well, if you really watched the Niners last year, you know that holding out didn't help Bosa. In fact, it absolutely hurt him. He had one of his worst seasons of his career. He was not good against the run. His pass rush technique suffered. His numbers suffered. He was still good, but he wasn't the defensive player of the year. He didn't get any defensive player of the year votes, and he wasn't an all-pro. And he said afterward that not going to training camp affected him. So, yeah, there's a world where Aiyuk holds out and he gets the extension like a week before the season and he's there week 1. But should we expect a down season from Aiyuk if that's where this is going? Because we just got a down season from Nick Bosa, who we thought didn't need training camp. It seems like everyone needs training camp. As diligent as Brandon Aiyu is, as hard as he works out, he needs to compete with Trevarius Ward and Deommodore Lenoir day in and day out to have an all-pro season. That's what it took last year. And if he doesn't have that, if he instead of that competition, he's just spending all his time stressing about money, what kind of season is he really going to have? And yeah, that's his problem, but that's also the 49ers' problem because their thing this year is we're not trading Brandon. Doesn't matter. We need Brandon at his best so we can win a Super Bowl, but will he be at his best? It seems like the Niners really need to make Brandon another offer. Reportedly, they haven't engaged in contract talks with him since May. Offer him $28 million a year. He'll say yes. This will be over. It's more important to have Brandon at camp day 1 than to save $2 million a year. Stop being cheap. Jalen Waddle's worth $28 million a year, then so is Brandon Aiyu. This doesn't need to be worked out in September. This can be worked out next week. Get it done.